Welcome back to Gintama Anime Review, episode number 5. This one reviewing technically this is the 5th season of the series. It's basically Gintama with an apostrophe in it. Yep. Now, like the previous seasons, this one was pretty much the same amount of episodes as was last season. 51. Yep. The first 2 episodes is the time arc. Yes. I was looking forward to this, and I was a bit disappointed in the manga. The manga this took up like 3 chapters. The anime took up like 2. Yeah, in the manga, Shinpachi basically says that it only been a week since because the manga took a week off. In the anime, it was 1 year, and everybody looks completely different. Uh, Gin looks like Yamcha. Well, first looked like Yamcha. Mentioned also missing Sabaody. Mentioning a time skip to One Piece head. Where he's got the scars and longer hair. Kagura, because everything's 2 years passed by, she's basically become a smoking hot teenager, where she's got a big chest and basically shows off her midsection. Um, let's see. Kubidu became a transgender, where she became sort of what referred to as a Fenori. Basically, it's a woman with a woman with male and female body parts. Yeah, for some reason. Katsura became a guy without a groin because he felt like it. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, Shinpachi basically has got a job at the Shinigami. Kaido is engaged to Shinpachi's sister, and Shinpachi's sister is expecting a child. Yeah, it turns out this is all complete fake. Let's see what else. Soto has become the emperor of the the Great Shinigami Empire, and the Shinigami headquarters looks completely different. It looks like a giant freaking castle instead of the traditional way it's normally seen. It looks like a mansion, like a Japanese style mansion that people tend to see in a lot of like very known anime when it comes to Japanese anime. Let's see what else. Who has become a human for some reason. Elizabeth has become a cyborg, and Azumi, as far as I can tell, she doesn't act much different than she normally does. I don't think she's even in this particular one. No, I don't remember she is in this one. Oh yeah, and Hitsuga has become sort of Shinpachi's driver, though. Yeah, it turns out nope, he's not act. Yeah, it turns out that everybody's acting this way because of an alien wart that makes everybody thinks that 2 years passed by, even though really it hasn't. And the way that these things are taken out is being whacked by a giant fan. And everybody gets knocked out, but even Shinpachi. And it turns out Gin was never affected by this at all. As for now, they kind of explain it comes from outer space. As to explain why Gin was skipped over, yeah, when you finish watching this arc, when it's 2 part, like okay, why was it's like you ask like a bunch of questions and it's ignored by the time you start the next arc. It's like why was Gin immune from this? How was Shinpachi the one basically also infected with the war, even though he's one noticed everything? Same thing with Hitsuga. Or at least when in the world they decided to when this stuff even popped up on them. Yeah, that was never explained. Yeah, it's like when you finish one, it's like you have like a bunch of questions when you watch this whole arc, and none of them are answered. It's like the only thing that they do answer is the fact that the cause of all this is a war from outer space. That is the only answer you get. As for how in the world that somehow in the period of about just a year, the Shinigami headquarters turned into a giant castle. Yeah, that was never explained. And then by the next episode, everything's like back to normal. It's like reset. Yeah, this is a common thing with this series. Is like, it's not until toward the end of the series that you actually get consequences for these particular arcs. Still, they do follow up with stuff here and there, but it's not to the point where they have a hard reset afterwards. And then pretty much after this 2-parter, then we have about 3 standalone episodes. Yeah, next 3 are standalone episodes. Let's see. 204 is about, well, New Year's cards, and Valentine's one. The Valentine's one I actually really enjoyed because you have um, Totoro and Azumi basically working outside of the character pole arc, because prior to this particular episode and prior to character pole, these two have never seen each other before at all. Character pole was simply just something just a throwaway thing. hmm Yeah, and Azumi basically thinks like for her is not, for her acting normal is strange to her. Basically, instead of like sticking to Gein's apartment like she normally does, she just tries knocking on the doorbell and she nearly breaks her finger. And of course, they run away and they try to give him chocolates, and eventually Kagura does give Gein chocolates at the very end. Yeah, and of course, New Year's one was really weird, where they assume everyone like it's like it was a fake wedding that supposedly happened, and Gein and Azumi got married, even though it's completely untrue. They think with Kaido, excuse me, and Toei, and Toe. Yeah, fake marriage proposal. Yeah, and then it turns out that these two, along with Hitsuga, ended up on a deserted island where they lost their memories, and they tried to find each other, and somehow they got their memories back, and that's when over they got back to land. Never explained. It's completely ignored by the next episode. Yeah, 205 Yakuza. Yamakuza. Him. Yeah, him and his M pants is he's basically these bread rolls. I'm like, okay, so apparently he spends uh this whole episode takes place in a period of like 1 month. Yeah, where he's watching a target, like a possible target for this possibly an anti-foreign rep. They call him jury for some reason. They originally in the sub they call these people anti-foreign anti-foreigner legion, and they tell me refer as Joe Patriots. I don't know why they keep changing their mind about certain things that come to these subs. Eventually, yeah, it turns out that he does catch them, and the way he catches them is by throwing these bread at them. Of course, this stuff comes back later on. Next one is basically Kaido going on a date with Oti to a baseball game, which then they can sue, and then he tries to block a meteorite trying to hit Oto's head, and it does hit her. It's not too bad. It's like of course the comical thing of anime, even cartoons, like this big bump. And she says, "I'm going home." Yeah, despite Kaido basically doing his best. I mean, at least it didn't hurt her too bad, because if he hadn't stopped that meteorite, it would have nearly killed her. So I think that he should have basically later on apologized to her, or at least that she should have basically he should have told her like, if I hadn't stopped that thing, it would have hurt you a lot worse than you got. Yeah, but this is completely ignored, and he goes back to stalking her nonetheless. 206. Wow, this one. This one is basically Catherine gets a boyfriend, and it turns out this guy is a sleazebag who is basically just really wants her money just so he can pay off some debt. I'm like, seriously? Yeah, and in fact, he played her. This is probably by far the second time in the series that she's been uh, left desperate. The last time is when her former associate is trying to get back into the game being a thief. Oh yeah, a lot of the time when Catherine is seen, she acts like Osea, where she's basically really lazy and doesn't do her job, and she's supposed to be the poster girl. Like, okay, you make a poster girl of a woman who's basically middle aged. Yeah, this woman looks like. I mean, we look at Catherine. She looks like she's probably in her early 40s, too close to about 50. That's the way she looks. Sorry to say. No, she does try to do like a good young look. And then we have a two-parter, the Glasses arc. Yeah, this one was a bit fun. This one was about Zumi, and she also explains when she gets her glasses from. Yeah, Geen accidentally breaks her glasses when she acts like a 3D TV, takes off the screen, and it's like, you know, when they turn her off, it's just to kiss her lips. And of course he throws her and it has Shooter basically pull out of the TV, and of course accidentally breaks her glasses. Geen regrets and tries to get a new pair. She gets a temporary pair until we get the other one fixed, and she ends up botching a bunch of missions. And there's these lethal punishers about the killer. And she basically ends up in the hospital, and Zanzo, who's no friend of hers, takes her to the hospital, and Gin, of course, doesn't say it particularly, but he's kind of indirectly responsible for this mess because he broke her glasses. Yep. And then they decided to take her to Zanzo's house. Okay. When in the world they find out where he lived? Yeah, this is something that's never explained. It's like, oh, they just ended up in some random house, and then it turns out, oh yeah, it's actually Zenzu's house. Yeah, that is never explained of why in the world. And the reason why they're there is so that because they want to turn the whole hospital into a battleground. Have some of those houses turned into a battleground, and the thing is so hilarious. Like every single one of these Punishers are so fun. Like one is the T-shirt Punisher who puts on medium T-shirts on people for no reason. There's two Punishers who steal popsicles. These cute girl popsicles. Yeah, I've actually had these things, so I didn't slurp them like they do in the show. It's a minor recurring product placement, but I had these things before. They're quite delicious. I haven't had some sometime. Basically, you break them in half and you eat the ice. Yeah, because normally here it's so frozen. You don't slurp out it like you do here in the show. Yeah. And eventually all take them out in quite hilarious fashion. Though, then they get surrounded by a bunch of them, and then Azumi puts on her glasses, and she's basically become like a Power Ranger, where they can shoot out lasers, all this other stuff. There's even a point where she has her own Power Rangers morph, where she just morphs into this flying. It actually kind of looks like a Sailor Moon transformation when I saw like, wow, yeah, it's like she's covered up and she got wings. Excuse me. Then she kills the Punishers. Absolute fun arc. Mm-hmm. But the real fun begins with episode 210. Yeah, and we have one standalone episode, which is the filler of one. Yep, a filler. Yeah, then comes a really exciting arc. Probably by far one of my favorite arcs of the whole series. The Four Devas arc. Yep. This particular arc. This arc, when I was reading the manga, this arc felt like it took a while. It took up like 16 chapters. Like, it took up like 15 chapters in the manga. And it only took up about, I think it was about 5 episodes of the anime. No, 6. Yeah, there were 6 episodes. Yeah. And this one they introduced the final member of the Four Devas. Yeah, because prior to this, they mentioned that OC is part of it. They introduced the King of the Drag Queens. The Peacock Princess, they introduced her prior to this in another arc. And this one introduced the final member, who was an old acquaintance of OC who used to be in love with her, and his fights with her husband basically, well, and of course he got married, and then he decided to abandon his own wife and child for this one woman. Yep, a woman he also cuts down. When Gin finds out about this and sees that he's the one who did it, he goes freaking nuts. He basically whacks the guy in the face with his wooden sword and turns to a big brawl in a cemetery. And then eventually later on, and because he sort of manipulated the whole thing, of course the Peacock Princess is the one who actually is the main antagonist of the whole thing. Yeah, they try to go with her, so they try to blow up her bar. So the drag queen decided, and he's blackmailed into this, so he tries to attack, well, OCS headquarters. And of course, I'm hearing about, because it's spread about the whole town, about them trying to burn this place down. And because Gin is interact with all these people, like a lot of these characters, you have Shin's sister and her group of cabaret girls show up. You have, I can't remember this guy's name. I think it's, he's the male hostess guy. He's the number one host in the whole district. Him and his male escort show up. You have Tsunami, the female fighter. Yeah, she shows up. Yeah, she's from a quick little two-parter prior to this. I was so happy. When I read this in the manga, I'm like, wow. It had been a while since she last showed up in the anime. Yep, it had been a while. Yeah, she hasn't showed up since that two-parter involving an arsonist. Yep, they even brought back the woman from the The first arc that went really dark in the anime, heck, even darker than the Baga's Sword arc, they brought her back. Though this was not her first appearance since then. She appeared in a one-off episode where focused on Yakuza. Yep. And it seemed like they threw it at everybody. And then this whole episode turns into a big brawl where all these groups are fighting Paco, this beautiful teenager, female redhead, and heck, she even tried to join odd jobs prior to this. And when they find out she's actually this guy's daughter, he of course tries to silence her. Of course, he also cuts up part of her hair. Then she of course glues it back on. I'm like, really? She cares about this one little thing tied over her head? Yeah, it's really weird. And the brawl is probably by far the best part of the episode. And then we have it where it turns out this whole thing was manipulation by the Peacock Princess. Yeah, I'm surprised no one calls her the Peacock Lady because of her reception with peacocks. Yeah, that's the thing about this particular arc. Yeah, no one refers to her, like, not even Gin refers to her as a Peacock Lady. Like, I know that Luffy referred to Boa Hancock before, probably just by her proper name. He called her the Snake Lady because of her obsession with snakes. I'm surprised they didn't go that route. That was something. Yeah. And of course, you have Gin, of course, him and Catherine, and where is she in all this? And also Tama, because her mop broom is also armed with weapons. So yeah, I think by far for this whole entire season, this is probably far one of the best arcs of the whole season, probably the whole series, up until they do Silver Soul. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what happens in this arc does affect later arcs, because Otia becomes one of the four Devas. Yeah, she takes over from what I read, she takes over the Peacock Lady's, the Peacock Princess's position in the group. Yeah, and Gin, the whole group gets replaced later on because one retires, the other one gets forced out. Yeah, and they all get replaced with Gin, the dragon. I can't remember the guy's name. His top subordinate, Otia, and Jajiro's one of his subordinates, the guy with the scar across his face. Yeah, he's one of the two characters the whole series got a scar across. Kaio gets one later on. Yeah. And it turns out that the Peacock Lady is one of those pirates from the first arc. Yeah, she's the fourth squad captain. And after this arc, she just gets knocked out. She flees Earth, and then she's captured by, of all people, the main villain of the Boxer Sword arc. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is explained in 215, which is a quick little two-parter. Yeah, when Kagura's idiot brother Kumi decides to overthrow the pirates and becomes the head of the pirates after he kills, well, a guy named Admiral Ado, which refers to as Admiral A-hole because of how much he is one. Because all he cares about is his own person. He doesn't care about the pirates. He only cares about himself. So they eventually kill him and a bunch of his subordinates, including one of the squad captains who side with him. Yeah. And eventually they have. I'm a little curious though of how in the world this guy. Now I get the fact the guy has got a spaceship, but when in the world did he meet up with these pirates? Yeah, this is not even explained during the Bagazo Sword arc. Yeah, that part was never explained. Like at some point they met up with them, and this of course is apparently met up with this admiral at one point, and of course it says with Kumi, and of course they were with the pirates. Yeah, and of course they both visit the Peacock Princess who's in prison, and she's basically had mental breakdown, and she's still gambling because she ran in a casino. There's odds or evens of like everything loses, and just all she has in this bowl is just a nut and bolt. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised Kumi, because I'm sure he knows this woman is very attractive. I'm surprised he didn't break this one out of prison himself. Yep. Yeah. But then after the arc, we have like overall, I'd say about 5 standalone episodes. Yeah, the next 5 are standalones. Yep. Yep. You have a tour of the Yakuza. Kagura does. Oh, this one was funny. Gin Hizuka the pool episode. Yeah, where like all the female characters get to see them all in swimsuits. Kagura, you don't see much of a swimsuit for her, but you see one for Toshi. You see one for pretty much almost everybody. But it is one of the most one of my personal favorite episodes of the whole series. I guess they decided to do something like this because Kagura can't stand the sunlight so much, so why not go to an indoor pool? And Toso is teaching Himura's son how to swim. And she, of course, is wearing this beautiful, this tiny bikini. And she gets like, Geet, you know this girl? He's like, yep. And she does that thing where she throws her kunai in his head, and somehow he comes out perfectly fine, so like he's bleeding. Normally, this would kill somebody, but yet for Geen, he just shrugs us off. Yeah, and also, he also does something really kind of dumb. Kuduru, he's crawling out of the water. He actually grabs her swimsuit. He doesn't look at her breasts, but apparently this somehow counts as him touching her because she's very nervous whenever men touch her. So she basically throws him off, and of course she tries to somber in Otia's chest. And she, of course, is blushing. She just really wants a piece of that. Yeah, she still has a thing for this woman. This I think she's a woman as well. So she's basically a woman who's love. She's a lesbian. But yet she's not in love with any other woman. She's in love with this one woman. Despite the fact that someone does not have attraction to her at all. Yeah. And the recurring joke the whole series is that when the Shogun shows up, terrible things happen. And he always gets stripped down to his underwear for like no reason. This one he actually kind of has a reason because he prefers to swim in his briefs. And he also mentioned that it's elastic. Yeah. Next one is a split. Let's see. Next one we have a thing with a crab. Yeah, this was funny. Let's see. 219 is another one of these split episodes. One with Kagura, last part of the other was the bathhouse one. Yeah, this one. Yeah, I'm quite happy they had a bathhouse episode. We had a whole episode set in the bathhouse. Not many series I've watched have had bathhouse episodes. Yeah, this is a thing in Japan. Now, this is one of many series I've seen that actually had bathhouse episodes. They did this in Naruto Shippuden. They did this in One Piece, like once as far as I recall. They did this at the end of Alabasta. So they've had Nami see her taking a bath several times in the series, but this is also another series of this. I believe Bushuda Rukin has done this. I know, in fact, Fairytale has done this several times. Let's see, what else? I know they've done it for Seven Deadly Sins in the manga, never in the anime. They never adapted that particular chapter. I don't know why. It's one of the most hilarious chapters of this whole series. Yeah. I'm trying to think what other series I've done this I've watched. Let's see. I think Akame Got a Kill has had a bathhouse episode. Let's see. I know JoJo's Adventures has never had one. Rashura Kenshin? No. That one's never had one. This one I think it could have had one anyways. Surprisingly, Bleach never had one. And Tokyo Ghoul never had one either, which that would have been something to see. A bathhouse episode in a series all about people, about an alternate universe where you have these people who eat humans. Yeah, that would have been interesting to see. I'm trying to think though, was there any series I watched that had bathhouse episodes? The ones I've watched? No one I can think of. Nope, another one I can think of. Yeah. I can't really think of any other series that have actually had bathhouse episodes, but it's always great to see these things because it's a thing over in Japan. They have these things, so it's not unexpected you have a bathhouse episode in an anime. So yeah. But this one, and here's the thing. On the girls' side, this is actually the second time the series they had stuff to do with a bathhouse, but the other one was part of a hotel. This is an actual bathhouse. Yeah, this one, on the guy's side, you had Gin, Shippachi, and all four, the top four Yakuza. Kaido, Toshi, Soda, and Yakuzo. Yakashai. On the girl side, it's Otia and Kagura. Yeah, and Kagura came to by themselves. Came together. Shin came with his sister, and the four Shinigami came by themselves. And then they decided to go to, and then their session is interrupted by Gein's neighbor, who's an alien, who looks very scary. He's got horns, got flower crown on his head for no reason. Yeah, he takes his family to this bathhouse, and the old man, yeah, when Kaido and Gin are fighting under this kiddie pool, which looks pretty deep for a kiddie pool. Yeah, this kiddie pool looks quite deeper than it's supposed to be. Yeah, there's really no reason for it to be this deep. It's probably just an anime joke. I'm a little surprised that it turns out these people do not bathe in hot water. They bathe in cold water, like when it's like freezing cold. Yeah, it's one of our odder episodes. Then we have the Junkum arc, which has QBD teaching this monkey how to properly behave, though she commonly throws poop at Gin. Like, it's a gag in this particular two-parter where Gin is like, after one time insulting this monkey, apparently this monkey seeing Gin, he throws a bunch of poop at it, and then in the following part where QB's like assistant, like, here's the guy you love throwing poop at, and there's like hundreds of monkeys that Junkum broke out. Junkum's full name is like really, really long. I'm not going to say it because it will take way too long to say this person's name. Even Shippachi points out several times in the episode, this name is way too long. And it turns out this monkey is actually for the nephew of the Shogun. My guess is the Shogun must have had other siblings, because the only sibling I can think of is Saito, who is Kagura's best friend. He must have other siblings. But there's no mention of him having a brother. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other siblings, but yeah, this kid only appeared for like one episode, and he called the monkey Goku. Okay, so he named the monkey after the main character of the Dragon Ball Z. Okay. Yeah, this was a fun little two-parter. Oh, 224. Something about a haunted Blu-ray. This whole episode is a spoof of the Ring series. The character Blu-ray is actually based upon the main villain of the Ring series. Yes, the one who comes out of the TV. I've seen the original Ring film. It's one of the most bizarre films I've ever seen. I've never seen the Japanese version. I have seen the American version. I have never seen the sequels, but I have seen the original one. One where the girl crawls out of the well, the whole thing with the 7 days thing, and crawls out of the TV. Yeah, and it turns this girl is actually a real-life spirit from this house that apparently burned down years prior. Yeah, it turns out this Blu-ray girl cannot leave the TV because she's a computer virus. And she has the appearance of a angel with bandages, and she also rips one of her wings, and she also has a Kibito. This actually also comes into play later on, this table, and she just pulls out a TV and starts just, laying there. And apparently she's also sort of hanging inside of the TV. Eventually she gets transferred to Gein's GPS. And after this episode, this character is never seen again. Despite how interesting she was and how they developed her over the course of this one episode, I would have loved they brought her back, but I don't remember. But a haunted Blu-ray, that was something original. They mentioned the whole thing of the common trope of cursed videotapes. But what about a cursed Blu-ray? Yeah. Of course, Gein's gonna fly at the end. Yeah. Next is a two-parter featuring Gein going to jail. Yes, Gein goes to jail. First of 3 times that he does in the series. Yeah, this time he's on a false assumption. Yeah, and the warden, is very sadistic and he tortures prisoners. It turns out this warden is actually Gein's cellmate's son. Yep. Yeah, they actually reveal this into part 2. Yeah, in the manga, this was a quick little 3-parter. Like, for something called the jail arc, this was really damn short. That's the thing with some of these titles of these arcs. They're just really damn short. Even the anime of this is not very long. This is like 2 episodes, and the manga arc was 3 chapters. What they did is they split the second chapter in half. Yep. And this has Gein meeting the prisoner from an episode featuring Katsuro, from an episode he went to another prison, and this character does come back later on. Yeah, this is the character's second appearance in the series. I remember the character's name. He's got like an X on his forehead. He's the guy who loves shoulder pads, and of course cutting sleeves off. Yeah, 227. Crossover with Skeet Dance. Yeah, it makes like, wait, we did crossovers before. Those are parodies. Those don't count. But this is an actual crossover with Skeet Dance, which is kind of like a high school version of Gintama because it's set in present day. Yeah, this is one of the most oddest ones I've seen for crossovers because these characters just randomly show up in their place. Excuse me, Skeet actually explain who these people are. I've never watched Skeet Dance. I currently have plans to, but it sounds interesting. Yeah, especially since that the blonde hair character of the trio from that series is in love with the main character, and I heard that she just confessed her feelings to him in the final at the end of the series, but he doesn't say anything. Yeah, and apparently the guy who's sort of Shippachi's counterpart, apparently he talks via a laptop that he has strapped around his neck. Like he has like a strap and he of course keeps typing. I'm like, I've seen one other character do this. Would have like a type thing right in front of him, and that was the character was the writer from Suicide Squad, who's actually Grant Morrison of all people. Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. Oh boy, 228. Yeah, this was the Love Churches arc. Yeah, one of two arcs in the manga I just didn't care for, so I just skipped over this one. Yeah, you get the sister and this whole virtual reality thing. Don't care. I decided to pass in this one. Even the manga, I just didn't really care for this thing. Yeah. Let's see. 230, 231, two straight channel episodes. 230, it's about texting. Yep, texting. 31 is a funeral episode. Yeah, I've seen this in like almost every series is a funeral episode. This one is a bit of a blast. It just, well, Gin and Toshi seeing the ghost of a dead restaurant owner, and of course them trying to be polite about them seeing a ghost, and yeah, and eventually they're the ones who take out the coffin out to the hearse, and of course they take the hearse over to the cemetery, and he praises him for making his funeral a riot. Yeah. Then comes a very interesting little arc, the Rojo arc, which is 5 episodes, and this whole arc is a Star Wars and a Gundam ripoff. No joke, it really is. Heck, the Rojo's main base operations is a Death Star in the face of a penguin. Yep, and they kind of explain Elizabeth's backstory in this one. Well, one of his 2 backstories. There's another one later on. Yeah, where he's basically this character called General Aaron. I'm like, did they name this character after a character from Gundam? I think they did. There's mentioned stuff with White Base. Yeah, there's many gun references the whole series, this whole arc. Heck, there's a parody of the Mark I Gundams. Yeah, they show up in here, but for some reason, even though that Sunrise is the one who made the Mobile Suit Gundam series, they apparently thought it was okay to censor these things' heads. I have no idea why, but they did. Oh, and these things pretty much operate the same way as the Mark I Gundams from the original Mobile Suit Gundam series. I have watched it. It's an absolute blast of a series to watch. Even though it's 70s animation, but it's great. There's mention of Amuro Ray in here. Of course, there's one particular episode back. Yeah, that's the thing about this series. They love making Gundam references. But, heck, what one of the characters points out, though, the reason why they're allowed to get away with it, same company who made Gundam. That's the only reason why. Though this one also introduces an old girlfriend of Elizabeth's. Yeah, this smoking hot woman who's also a pervert. Yeah, where I thought this was so funny. Where Katsura, Gin, and their old guy, a friend of theirs who's obsessed with spaceships, they all apparently decided to do the most hilarious thing possible by having to stick their head underneath this woman's costume. Apparently she's not wearing anything in this costume. Even Kagura gets on this thing. It's like, all I see is forest. I'm like, seriously? You're seeing a grown woman butt naked under her costume. Oh, she never takes his costume off the whole. She doesn't take it off into the final episode. Yeah, it's one of the most hilarious things. And the way she takes out, she fires one particular. Apparently, uh, what was his name? I'm trying to remember his name about this guy. He's. Yeah, it's Shakamoto. Him and his associate, who's later revealed to be Yamato. Yeah, they revealed this much later on in the series. It would be something interesting if they revealed it here because they spent a lot of time with him. And yeah, this guy is an idiot, and he frequently gets the crap beaten out of him by his own associates. And there's even a thing here with her stomping on his groin repeatedly. I'm like, are you gonna try to kill this guy? Yeah. There's even a joke about when they had his ships basically form into a giant robot, and he says, "We're gonna fuse. You can make baby. You want me to make babies with you?" I thought that was so funny, absolutely so hilarious. And it turns out, nope, they're fusing in a giant robot. So they have her and Kaga join the legs. Yeah, the dirty woman controlling the groin for some strange reason. The guy is controlling the arms, and Sheen acts like a pimple. Yeah, because apparently they forgot to give him a costume, so they painted him white, put him in tiny whiteys, and cover up his glasses. I'm like, seriously, it's one of the most hilarious things I had ever seen. And they kind of revealed the reasoning why Elizabeth's people wear the white suits and why they have to communicate via these signs. Because apparently Dark Vader didn't like them talking. So eventually they all take off their costumes, and apparently it's all guys in these costumes and they all wear tiny whiteys. Like, seriously, why don't the women wear just briefs? Just to wear something like, I don't know, how about a pair of shorts? Yeah. But it's one of the most hilarious things, but this kind of basically kind of loosely wraps what Elizabeth was doing. Like, why he was sent to Earth. Yeah, and yeah, Sekiro, yeah, he's an idiot, and apparently he spends a lot of time in host club, so he doesn't know what the heck is going on in his own company. Yeah, but absolute fun little space arc for this one. Then we have a two-parter with having the Shinsengumi odd jobs and the Shogun going on a snowboarding trip and they get lost. This was a fun little, quick little two-parter. And then it's two standalone episodes involving a scandal. Yeah, another arc I didn't really care for the manga, and I read this particular arc. Yeah, apparently Ging gets drunk, and it's implied he slept with 5 women over the course of an hour. Yeah, Azumi, Tosuro, Otia, yeah, it's implied. Let's see, it was also Kubido, and yeah, they slept with all these 5 women, even implied with Hizuka. Yeah, it turns out implied he kind of actually did. The other ones, and it turns out the reason why that the whole thing was all a scam was because Gin destroyed a whole bar and let everyone with the bill, and of course Tatsuro did the thing too. But yeah, this is also the third time in the series that Zumin's glasses get broke. Though second time that Gin does, though, he does it on purpose this time. And somehow later on she gets her glasses back, and it's never explained how her glasses get fixed anyway. She probably replaced the lenses. Yeah, an arc I just didn't really care for. And then we have the host arc. Yeah, let's see. Then we have, yeah, two-parter involving the host arc, which having, yeah, his name is Kaitsuro. Yeah, this is his return since that Fort Davis arc. Yeah, apparently he's thinking that his club might be shut down, so they just pretty much invite a bunch of people to become hosts. They have odd jobs get decided to temporarily take over as hostess, along with they bring in Otia, and they refer to and Kaitsuro referred to as the #1 hostess in the district, and she's like, she loves that title, the #1 hostess. And they eventually swing in the big three of the Shinzagumi versus Kaido, who acts like a host cart. Yeah, because the guy loves stalking him. her, and then eventually he sees that Hitsuka and Soto, who weren't even invited, like, I don't think anybody knew to show up, and he makes them hostess. And apparently, Soto is a good player for the ladies because he brings in two women into the place, and he just smooches them up, and it's like he was bored for this. Yeah, it was by far so hilarious. And eventually, the madam shows up, and she's this beautiful woman. Eventually, kind of, it's implied she's attracted to Kidoro. I don't remember if this woman comes back, but she was quite interesting, and she was quite irritating. And this whole thing, and the next episode was all about a conversation about Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, a whole episode they talk about Dragon Ball Z, and my personal guess is because they're talking about it, and of course they show parodies of the actual characters. That's probably the reason why that they weren't like sued by Toei Anime, because Toei Anime is the one who makes Dragon Ball Z. My guess is they probably love this episode, so they probably didn't mind the references, or at least bring up, or at least showing images of characters from the actual series. I'm probably assuming that Toriyama probably loves this episode too, but I thought this was hilarious. Mm-hmm. And then we have, like, I think it's like one standalone episode. Yeah, this is the one that remake that prisoner guy. Yeah, from the jail arc. This is the third appearance in the series. Yeah, and they try to make this whole special manga, and they have this thing with shoulder pads. And the thing turns out to be a ripoff of Death Note. I think the title is basically a reference to Death Note. Death Note and a few other things. Like, even Bleach. Yeah, and there's a thing with shoulder pads. And they even do a very loose... they even try to animate this one chapter, and it looks terrible. Like, really? And then they show that Gin, Kagura, and Shippachi all got shoulder pads. As for why this is, never explained, because next episode is perfectly fine. Yep. And then the last official arc they did for this season was the Thorny arc. But there was like 5 episodes after this one. This one is the one speaks most Toshi's backstory, because they introduced his assistant in this particular arc. Absolutely fun of a character. They also introduced the Mensegumi. They sort of rival group to Shinzagumi. They dress exactly like them, except the uniforms are white. And their head is a huge fan of the Shinzagumi. And he tries so much to get rid of his idiot brother. And kind of explains to this kid. What's this kid's name? Let's see. His name is, Tenshouki. Tenshouski. Mm-hmm. Yep. Also forgot to mention for the arc, yeah, the whole thing with that one is all the characters play Uno. That was a joke they played a couple times in the episode. As a matter of fact, the episode ended with them all playing Uno. Mm-hmm. Yep. But this one also explains that Toshi is also son of mistress as well. Though, from what I could tell, apparently his father's, like the rest of his the rest of the family, had no problem with him at all. As a matter of fact, his brother actually adored him. Yeah. And apparently, and this is of course explained at the end, apparently toward the end of Toshi's brother's life, they never really spoke to each other, but they still wrote each other, which was nice. And this is when they introduced a character named, what is her name? She eventually becomes a rivalry with Soto. I'm trying to remember this woman's name. Yeah, this woman, when I saw her and the way she acts, I'm like, is this a ripoff of... Let's see, what's her name here? Emery. Yeah. When I saw this character and the way she was cutting on people and the way she acts, heck, even her obsession with food, I'm like, is this a character based off of a comic from a comic Gotta Kill? Yeah, there are many comparisons with this one. And her hair is very similar, despite it being different color. Her back to both swordswoman, and they both cut very similarly, and they're obsessed with food. Though Akame, it's with meat. Her, with this woman, it's donuts. Now, apparently, she doesn't find any way for eating a bunch of donuts. Yeah, and the way they explain this is the most hilarious thing. After the building that they're in collapses, The chief is fishing for her with Donut, and she just crawls out of the wreckage after Soto basically chopped up the last pillar. Yeah, it's so hilarious the fact that these two are just good rivals. I'm like, okay, I think that the writer created this character to be specifically be this group's rival for Soto, and the chief be a rival for Hitsuga for Toshi. Absolute, really fun of an arc, and it was great character development for Toshi. hmm But I think the highlight character of this whole thing, the highlight fight this whole entire arc, is Soda versus Izumi. I think it's pronounced my name, correct? Um, Am I? Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the highlight fight of this whole entire thing. This lasts only for 2 episodes, but it's absolutely fantastic. Yep. And then pretty much the last 5 episodes. Okay, these particular episodes. They're all standalone. Yep, all standalone episodes. hmm Excuse me. We have I read about Who Wants a Millionaire. I skipped over this one because I just didn't really care. This one I really wanted to watch because I read about this one. Yeah, it's Gain's Demon Shinigami from the Diviner arc. I'm surprised they brought this character back, and she asked the Odd Jobs to help her get a Christmas present for the Weather Girl, who she's also serves as her servant as well. They also go to the Demon World. It's an absolute blast. I love episodes like this where it just basically characters go shopping. Not many of these. One of like very few series I've seen where characters go shopping, and how of an episode of this. But this is fantastic. I really this episode I really was looking forward to when I read up on it. The last three. 250 is New Year's envelopes again, though this time they are not exactly answering them. Yep. 251. Yep. An episode everybody's just really lazy. Where they have pretty much most of the cast take up this whole episode. Except for Tatsuro for some reason. She's the only one not here, but I would say most of the entire cast is in this episode. The last one, they think, oh yeah, it's just a clip episode, but then the show basically, they think is going to be the final episode. The show goes on hiatus for like 7 months. Yeah, it comes back 7 months later. Yeah, but otherwise though, that's really it. I can't think of anything I forgot when it comes to this particular season. No, nothing I can think of. But yeah, I know these videos tend to be dragging off really long because there's a lot to talk about and there's a lot of episodes. But I think next video when I get a chance to do it in a few hours because next season, season 6 is not very long. It's only 13 episodes, so you can expect that video to be done today. And I'm also planning a few other videos today, aside from that, to review season 6. Attack on Titan, One Punch Man, and a comic corner. Yep. So I have exactly 4 of the videos planned for today, aside from this one. Okay. But until I see you in my next review, bye.